A Sunday afternoon in the Bronx as a throng heads to Yankee Stadium for the final game of this long homestand and the rubber game of the three-game set. Today's pitching matchup brought to you by your local Infinity retailers. It's a good matchup. Gustavo Chacin goes for the Blue Jays 4-0, 5.11, and Mike Mussina off to a great start, 3-1 with a 2.45 for the Yankees.
Chacin, a young, crafty lefty who can work both sides of the plate. Let's check out his performance against the Yankees. Fastball outside corner. Fastball inside corner. Has a slider and a good change, and that little extra step in his motion can also work to his advantage. Mike Mussina on top of his game early in this season. His control has been next to perfect. Off to the best start of his career. Good movement on his pitches, and he's got the ability to change speeds. The Yankees looking for him to win the rubber game of the series when we come back.
Statement game? Not a little too early for that, but we have the lineups and the first pitch. That's next right here. But the Flowers have a head start. All the rain we've had here in April certainly paying dividends right now. Just a beautiful, beautiful Sunday afternoon in New York City. Mike Mussina is taking his warm-ups. Let's take a look at the Blue Jays starting lineup presented by Rico. Alexis Rios, the right fielder, will lead off. Frank Catalanato, the kid from Smithtown, Long Island, he's in left field. Boy, does he beat up Mike Mussina. Batting second in the lineup, 451 against the Yankee veteran. Vernon Wells in center field will hit third. Batting cleanup, the third baseman, Troy Gloss. After him, Lyle Overbay at first. Shea Hillenbrand, he's okay after that collision with Gary Sheffield at first base yesterday. He'll be the DH, he'll bat sixth. Batting seventh and catching, Greg Zahn. Aaron Hill, the second baseman, bats eighth. And the number 9 hitter in the J lineup is shortstop Russ Adams.
And that lineup will face Mike Mussina. And when you see these numbers, you'll see why Mike is off to such a great start. 3-1 in 5 starts with an earned run average of 2.45. Less than a hit per inning, and check out the control. 6 walks and 30 strikeouts. Now let's look at the Land Rover pitcher's scouting report. One of the reasons he's off to a great start, a variety of speeds. He's taking a lot more off his pitches than he has in the past, and he has the ability to put a little on. 10-4, good buddy. That is his record since becoming a Yankee against the Blue Jays. Fergie Jenkins, still the only pitcher to strike out more than 3,000 rather, and walk less than 1,000. If Mike Mussina were to do that, he's on that kind of a roll. He strikes out about 4-1.
Well, we are ready for baseball. Alex Rios digs in, and Mike Mussina deals. We're underway with a strike. Yankees baseball on Yes is presented in high definition where available. 63 degrees here in New York City. 12-mile-per-hour winds from left to right here at the stadium. Let's take a look at the full game time weather conditions presented by Heineken. We told you that it's 63 degrees, 23% humidity, winds about 11 miles per hour, and sunny, and the forecast is for warmer weather. There's a strike in the count, 1-2. The home plate umpire working his first series at Yankee Stadium is Adam Dowdy. Tries to hold up, but then takes a weak half to a high fastball, one away.
A good start by Mussina. Again, a couple off-speed pitches, and then he blows the high fastball past Alexis Rios. In and out, up and down.
Yankees have been a little bit concerned going into this year. They were very concerned about Mussina's slow starts, and they didn't want it to have a negative effect on his whole season this season. Now, he's very particular about the way he prepares for a season, so they couldn't say you have to throw more. But they felt that he came into camp in better shape. Last year, he was 1-2 through 5 starts with a 4.97. The year before that, 1-4 with a 6.67. So the 3-1, 2.45 in stark contrast to the previous 2 years.
And having a rookie umpire behind the plate and a veteran on the mound who's always around the plate, I think that's going to help him a great deal. Not that he needs that much help.
And the 0-2 to Catalinato. Upstairs. Yankees baseball is broadcast in Spanish. It's available by hitting the SAP button on your television. SAP is brought to you by the all-new 2007 Toyota Camry.
Maybe I was wrong. That pitch was a strike and he didn't get it.
And the 1-2.
Going back to the scouting report, the reason I use the comparison to Fergie Jenkins is because Mike has started to make rumblings that he'd like to pitch for 4 or 5 more years if he's healthy. He could get to 300 wins. He could get to 3,000 strikeouts. And if he does get to 3,000 strikeouts, he'll probably have the best strikeout to walk ratio of any pitcher that reaches that plateau.
Oh, got him. And Catalinato will go to first.
That is very unusual for Mike Messina to hit a batter. I mean, he'll come inside once in a while, just off the plate, but that one just had to slip out a little early. And Frankie Catalinato with his hands exposed, it looks like it got him right on the back of the wrist. We'll listen to it. You can usually count the number of batters that Mike Messina hits over the course of a year on one hand or less. 2 or 3 fingers.
He's hit 2 so far this year, which is a lot for him. It was Vernon Wells. Ground ball through the left side for a base hit. Catalinato will stop at second. Matsui will get the ball in. And a base hit for Wells, who now extends his hitting streak to 10 straight.
Actually, the pitch down and away pretty well on target, but Vernon Wells with great plate coverage pulls it in the hole.
A lot of hitting streaks going on. Tejada with the longest, 14 in the American League. Then Mensch 13. He had his consecutive game home run streak ended yesterday. Jorge Cantu of the Devil Rays, and Wells and Hillenbrand of the Blue Jays. So Mensch's home run streak stops at 6 straight games. So that means Dale Long, Don Mattingly, and Ken Griffey Jr. will all hold the record with 8 straight. Can breathe a little bit of a sigh of relief. Check that. Mensch stopped at 7. There's a ground ball to Alex Rodriguez. There's 1, and there's 2 as they turn 2 on Troy Gloss, and Mike Messina gets exactly what he needed and gets out of the first inning. No runs a hit, no errors, and 1 man left. At the end of 1, Blue Jays 1 and the Yankees coming to bat. Well, the Blue Jays don't score in the top of the first. Now it's time for the Yankees starting lineup against Gustavo Chacin. Yankees come in at 12 and 10, and this is their lineup put together by Joe Torre. Center fielder Johnny Damon leads off. Batting second and playing shortstop, the captain Derek Jeter. Jason Giambi will DH. He'll hit third. Last 6 games, he's been on fire. 8 for 16, 3 homers, 13 ribbies, and of course, all those walks. Alex Rodriguez, the third baseman, cleans up. After him, Hideki Matsui in left. Jorge Posada will catch. Bernie Williams in right field bats 7th. The 8th hitter is the first baseman, Andy Phillips, and Miguel Cairo will give the lefty swinging Robinson Cano the day off. So Cairo will play second, and he'll bat 9th.
And they'll face Gustavo Chacin. In 4 starts, he's a perfect 4-0. That ERA could be misleading. He had a lot of games there we went 5-6 innings, just allowed 3 runs. A hit per inning, and not particularly a strikeout pitcher. We'll take a look at the Land Rover pitcher's scouting report. He will work both sides of the plate. He'll run it in on Johnny Damon's hands. He'll work it outside. His motion, he's got a little extra step over the rubber that may help deceive the hitter. I mentioned he's on a roll. The Blue Jays have won the last 7 games that he's started. Perfect 4-0 this year.
The 2-0 to Damon. There's a strike. No Blue Jay pitcher has ever won 5 games in April, so this is the final day of April. He has a chance to go 5-0 if he can beat the Yankees. And Johnny Damon dunks one over the head of Chacin for a base hit. That's not the way you want to drag bunt, but it worked out for him.
Oh, if I could hit my sand wedge like that from about 30 yards. Perfectly placed. And even got a smile out of Johnny Damon. This was not by design. He wanted to drop that ball down. Chacin can't do anything about it. Neither can the middle infielders. In a well-placed bloop. Bunt single.
So Damon's at first, obviously a threat to go. Derek Jeter at the plate. Derek is 15 for his last 31, 22 for his last 46. There's that fastball upstairs. Jeter swings through 0-1.
Yeah, from the windup, he can tap that foot. I think from the stretch, the other thing is the way he sort of flings his glove at the hitter. He's not overpowering, but there's a little bit of some unusual movements in his motion that might be more difficult for the hitter to pick up the ball.
Damon smiling now. Will he be smiling tomorrow at Fenway Park? Red Sox Nation awaits. Yankees begin a 2-game set against the Sox. First time those two teams will meet. And of course we'll have the game right here on Yes. There's going to be a 6 o'clock batting practice show, 6:30 pregame show, and then game time is at 7 o'clock. Chin-Ming Wong against Tim Wakefield. But there's a game to be played this afternoon. The 0-2 to Jeter. Inside, 1-2. Jeter is 10 for 20 against left-handed pitching this year. Pretty good numbers against righties as well. 354. It all adds up to 388. Count 2-2. Jason Giambi's on deck. Chacin's fixing to throw that ball away. Nice play there by Overbay. So far, it doesn't look like he's got a great move. The more he throws over, the better read Johnny Damon gets. Damon inching off first. Right back to Chacin. Pretty play. Waits for the play at second. There's one. Not in time. That just took too long to develop before Russ Adams got to second. Chacin had a double clutch before he could throw the ball.
Good reactions by the young lefty. He flags it down. Right there's what Michael was actually, he needs to lead Adams into the ball. He could have gotten the ball out of his glove and led Russ Adams to the bag, and I think they would have had a chance to get a double play. But you'll see right there, he waits, and he waits till Adams gets to the bag, and then there's no chance to get the double play. That's one of those old PFP, pitchers fielding practice drills that's worked on by the hour in spring training, where you learn to lead your shortstop or your second baseman to the bag.
Here's Jason Giambi. And the pitch outside, 1-0.
Slowly but surely, the Yankee lineup is being shuffled a bit. For a long time, the first 6 hitters in the Yankee order, you could pretty well just put them in ink. And now that's changed. That was the first 4 stayed the same way for him. And now with Gary Sheffield out of the lineup, The top four have been shuffled. Jason Giambi in the 3 hole, so it's just the 1-2 guys, Damon and Jeter, that have been the same every game.
Always a work in progress as Joe Torre's still trying to find what fits, what works. And there's a strike to count 2-1. 3 for 10 against Chassis. Every time you look up, it seems that Giambi is 3-2, and he doesn't seem to have a problem hitting with 2 strikes. And he tells me he never has. He said, I also feel like I become a better hitter the more pitches I see from a pitcher during the bat, because the only time that I'll swing at a first pitch is when our scouting report says this guy's always going to start you off with a first pitch fastball. He said because he might be thinking that I'll work at the 3-2. And it's 3-2.
The breaking ball there on a 3-1 count. Well, there's a lot of pitchers ought to read that statement, because the more pitches you see, the more comfortable you become, and I think the easier it is to time a pitcher, which leads you to believe you're facing a guy like Giambi, you're much better off challenging him early in the count. Very few pitchers try to do that.
3-2. Breaking ball, strike 3. Whispering across the outside corner. A pretty pitch by Chassin.
Well, he mentioned he'll use both halves of the plate. He'll run the fastball in. I think that deceptive motion with his glove flying up in front, you'll see Giambi hold up for just a second. Very, very close. It looked like it might have nicked the front corner of the plate.
Here's Alex Rodriguez. Alex 7 for his last 30. And a strike. Count 1-1. Just underway at the stadium, bottom of the first inning, no score. Runner on first base with 2 outs. A-Rod this year 7 for 17 against left-handed pitchers with 3 home runs. That one's driven out to right center. Vernon Wells is there, and he'll put it away for the final out of the first inning. For the Yankees, no runs a hit, no errors. 1 man left. The end of 1 inning of play. Blue Jays nothing and the Yankees nothing. Hey, let's take a look at the J&R Music and Computer World upcoming schedule. We told you about the 2 games in Boston, and they should be great. They always are. The first of 19 between these 2 teams. Monday and Tuesday at 7. Batting practice show 6. Pre-game 6:30. You don't have to sell this game. I think people will tune in. They're both on yes. And that begins a 7-game road trip for the Yankees. 2 in Boston, 2 in Tampa Bay, 3 in Texas. Overbay fouls it away. We've been talking a lot about how Mike Messina, it seems like he has a better changeup this year. His arm is a bit livelier. His elbow's not bothering him, and he seems to be a much more effective pitcher, at least at the beginning of the season, than he's been the last couple of years. And there's a story, Jim, about he was pitching in an inter-squad game, which, you know, the big stars usually don't do that. They have maybe 2 or 3 of them before the regular season exhibition slate begins. And he wanted to pitch because, of course, Mike knew he was going to pitch when he was going to pitch in the season. And then he backdated 5 games, 5 games, 5 games, and he wanted to get more innings in. So he pitched in an inter-squad game, and he was facing Jorge Posada. And he worked into a 3-2 count as Overbay goes down on strikes. And Posada just crushes a changeup. It gets caught by the first baseman, but after the inning, Messina says, well, you seem like you were waiting on a changeup. He goes, well, did you guess? He goes, no, I knew it coming out of your hand. He goes, why? He said, because the way the fingers came off the ball, I knew it could only be a changeup. So Messina started to think, well, if Jorge's seeing it, other people are seeing it as well. And he changed the grip on his changeup, and it's made it a better pitch with more movement. I guess there's some way where the ball comes out the way your fingers stand up. It can only be a changeup.
Well, and the hitters, no matter a pitcher's motion, it can be deceptive. But the good hitters try to just look at that little window, that little box where the wrist is. See if we can get a shot of it just before the pitcher releases the ball. And that's all they want to look at. And it would still take. See, it's going to probably happen somewhere in here. Actually, it's right there. That's what they try to zero in on. I still take it. It takes awfully good eyesight to see that the fingers are lifted up on the baseball. And I think along with maybe changing the grip, when you look at the radar gun readings, I mean, he just struck Overbay out with a fastball, hit 90 miles an hour. A couple years ago, I don't think Mike would have thrown a two-strike fastball. I think he trusted his fastball quite as much. So. Again, it's another example of how everything works off control of that fastball. And it just makes all the other pitches that much more effective.
A 1-2. Popped up. Left side and out of play. Today's closed captioning is brought to you by your New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut Lexus dealers. I guess what happened with Posada is one of the reasons that teams actually send scouts out to scout their own teams, because sometimes you can get a look at something and I guess you can't see the forest from the trees, so they want somebody to look at it objectively, and Posada was watching Messina objectively, and that's why he was able to hit the changeup. And just a small movement of the hand and the fingers, now the changeup is a little bit more concealed. That's a breaking ball, and Hillenbrand goes down on strikes. Third strikeout for Messina.
And again, it's a much slower breaking ball. Mike uses the term. He said one of the ways that I've been able to change speeds, he said I dumped the curveball out a little bit early because there's a way you can change the grip pressure. There again, you see the release point, and from there he's going to pull. He's going to pull down, and even though that pitch may not have been in the best zone, the fact that it was so slow, it fooled Hillenbrand.
Here's Greg Zahn. Count 2-0. It really is amazing to the layman that a hitter could actually have that sort of concentration and eyesight to see those things. But these athletes are amazing. I mean, just think about how their synapses are firing just to learn, when to swing and to make that swing in less than a second and to hit the baseball squarely.
I'd have to sit down and spend some time with some eye doctors or medical people of some kind, because of course for a long time they'd say, Ted Williams could see the stitches on the ball and the label on the ball. And I mean, I've hit enough back before the DH and against a lot of good pitchers, and I always had pretty good eyesight. I never could understand how hitters could see that precisely when that ball comes out of there. You see the ball, but usually you don't react to it till it's like that last third distance to the plate.
Zahn thought he walked. So you didn't buy into the thing where Wade Boggs said he would see the spinning dot and know it was a slider?
I'd have to, yeah, you can see it when it gets close to home plate.
Right.
I don't think you can see, like I said, I have to talk to some doctors and find out if that's physically possible to see that precisely, something coming that fast.
It seems incredible. Here's the 3-2. Fouled away.
There again is another example of Moose trusting his fastball much better this year. I'd say in the previous Aprils, he got a 3-2 count. Guy like Zahn, fastball hitter, he'd say, I'm going to, trick him with an off-speed pitch. But he's got a lot more faith in his fastball starting this season.
And the 3-2. A little bit low, so Messina walks on. What's the deal, you think, Kitty, with all the older pitchers pitching better? Greg Maddux has been unbelievable. Roger Clemens the last couple of years. Now Messina seems to be having a renaissance here.
I don't know if it's coming to spring training. Mike made the comment yesterday in the interview I had with him about how pitchers, they take care of themselves better now than maybe pitchers did years ago. So these guys just came into spring training, got in better shape earlier.
Aaron Hill with a fly ball to right. Bernie can't get there. Tries to keep it in front of him. He does, but that still allows Zahn to go to third. So Hill snaps an 0 for 15 slide with a bloop single to right field.
Good job by Bernie right there. He realizes he can't catch it, but he can still keep it in front of him. That ball skips past him. There's a chance that Zahn might have been able to score. Of course, Johnny Damon was running over there to back him up.
Here's Russ Adams hitting ninth, the shortstop. So 2 strikeouts and a walk and a bloop single, first and third, and 2 outs. And the pitch is low, 1-0. Missed outside, 2-0. Messina staring in at Doughty. Not as overt in his displeasure as Randy Johnson usually is. Just a quick look in.
Yeah, you're not going to get the call on that one very much. That tumbled. That didn't have much crispness to it. It tumbled and kind of moved outside the strike zone.
There's a strike. The 2-1. Driven out into left center field. Johnny Damon and Matsui. Matsui with the call on the catch for the final out of the second. No runs a hit and 2 men left. We go to the bottom of the second. No score. We go to the bottom of the second inning. No score. Gustavo Chacín has good memories here at Yankee Stadium. It was his first big league win. September 24th, 2004. September 20th, 2004, and he defeated Javier Vasquez, and ironically enough, it was his first big league win, but his 20th victory of that season. He was 17-3 in AA, 2-0 in AAA, and then that victory against the Yankees gave him 20 wins on that season.
That was less than 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm. In the big leagues, he's 18-10 now.
So it's further evidence of you pull for the uniform. I mean, you'd be amazed at some of the names that were in the box score of that game in September of 2004. Kenny Lofton, John Olerud, Tony Clark, C.J. Nitkowski, Felix Heredia, Paul Quantrill.
Long gone.
They turn over in a hurry.
Count 1-2.
Probably easier to remember the lineup of the 1961 Yankees than it is the 1996 Yankees. Stayed the same for a few more years consecutively.
The 1-2. Foul back. Yankees trying to win their third straight series. They opened this homestand with 3 against the Orioles. They took 2 out of 3. Then followed up with 3 against the Devil Rays. They took 2 out of 3. And now with a win today, they'd have an opportunity to take 2 out of 3. And Joe Torre has always said, to keep winning series, you keep building over 500. Right now, the Yankees are 12-10. And after this 7-game homestand, or 7-game road trip upcoming, they're home for quite a while.
The end of that next homestand, they hook up with the Mets. First interleague play.
Chacin comes up and in.
Changeup that slipped out. And it looked for a moment like it hit Matsui, but he got the front shoulder out of the way.
Wonder if he read the seams on that. The 2-2. Missed outside, and the count is full. Here's Posada on deck. Swing and a miss. Weak hat, rare for Matsui, but he did not look good in that at bat. One away.
Well, what Chacin is showing the Yankee lineup right now is that he can get any pitch. He'll throw any pitch on 3-2. Now, that was a ball that Matsui chased. I get there yet. But that's why you ask a pitcher, how many pitches do you have? Well, let's say 3 or 4. How many can you get over on 3 and 2? How many do you trust? Well, you got 2 guys today, Messina and Chacin, who might throw 1 of 4 pitches on 3 and 2. They're not bashful about any of them. A lot of pitchers, you can get locked in on the fact that once they fall behind, you're going to see their fastball. Chacin from Venezuela.
Posada 6 for 13 against the Jays so far this year. And that's 6 for 14 as Hill will back up and make the play. 2 down.
Chacin reminds me a little bit of a left-hand pitcher that I had the privilege of coaching in Cincinnati, Tom Browning. Paul O'Neill played behind him one night in a perfect game. I think Browning threw out of 27 outs like 20 fly ball outs, and he would throw that fastball like Chacin is throwing. It didn't light up the radar gun, but with the motion, he always put it in places that you'd get like right underneath it, and that Posada at bat was an example of that.
There's Bernie Williams. He's starting in right field. Gary Sheffield is sore all over after that collision with Shea Hillenbrand at first base yesterday. Pitch is low.
Well, you know he's got to be real sore because, first of all, there's a left-hander on the mound, and maybe even more so than that. Gary Sheffield just doesn't miss playing time unless he is really banged up.
Hit sharply to short. Russ Adams is there, and he gets the hustling Bernie for the final out of the second inning. So Chacin is retired 6 in a row after that bunt single by Damon to lead off the first. We go to no score on the Coors Light scoreboard as we go to the third at Yankee Stadium. Blue Jays and the Yankees. Top of the Blue Jay order against Mike Messina. Alex Rios will start it off. Swings at the first pitch and pops it up behind the plate. And it makes the screen and out of play. Hey, here's a look at tomorrow's starting pitchers brought to you by Verizon Online DSL. Chin-Ming Wang, who's pitched well last couple of times out, getting his ERA down 1-1, 4.80 against Tim Wakefield, who is piling on the losses but has not pitched poorly, 1-4 with a 3.90 ERA. The game's on, yes. Batting practice show at 6 and the pregame show at 6:30. So Chien-Ming Wang will start the first game against the Sox. Upstairs.
Game 2, the Yankees, I guess for the first time since the World Series a few years ago, faced Josh Beckett.
Randy Johnson will not start in that series, but he will get a start against Tampa Bay. Count 2-2. John Gibbons, Blue Jay manager, done a nice job with this team. And a nice piece of hitting by Rios as he just slashes that one to right field for a base hit.
Rios, a high ball hitter, and he got a pitch up in his eyes. You see John quickly flash the signs. Moose left that out over the plate a little more than he wanted to. And I told John, I said, John, I promised the audience, whoever was watching yesterday that's watching again today, you're thinking behind the hit and run play when we showed the shot of Randy Johnson. Randy Johnson was he was leaking oil. He got a little bat shy after the first couple innings, and he'd walked the leadoff hitter. Count was 2-1 to John McDonald, and he said, well, you know, McDonald's a hit and run guy, and he said, you just figure a veteran pitcher like that's going to throw a strike. And as it turned out, Randy threw a pitch about a foot outside that Johnson or McDonald swung at and missed. They threw out the runner, and it was all Yankees after that. But up until then, the Blue Jays still had an excellent chance to stay in the game.
Hit and run was on there, and that ball is hit deep to right field. Going back, Bernie Williams. He's going to have to play it off the base of the wall. Karen gets past him. That will allow Rios to score. And Frank Catalanato, who has hit Mike Mussina so hard throughout his career, gets an RBI double, and the Blue Jays lead 1-0.
Pitch inside, hit and run on Catalanato, as he can do with a lot of fastballs, turns on it. Now Rios has to hold for a moment. Bernie gave it a good effort out in right field. See once whether he could catch it, but he has to turn and play the carom, and it gets away from him. That allows Rios to score easily.
Catalanato now lifetime 24 for 52 against Mike Mussina. Now this is a brand name pitcher. That's some pretty good hitting against Mike Mussina. There's a strike to Vernon Wells. It's hard to figure baseball because Catalanato's a good hitter, but he's not a hitter that should be hitting close to 500 against Mike Mussina. But even the best pitchers in baseball history have had that one thorn in their side. It just doesn't make sense. And one of the more famous is Tommy Hutton for Tom Seaver. Tom Seaver couldn't get out Tommy Hutton. Vernon Wells with a fly ball to right. Bernie Williams will make the catch. Tagging is Catalanato. The throw is way wide, so Catalanato moves to third.
Blue Jays have done their homework. They know Bernie throwing is not Bernie's strong suit, though if that were on target, may have been close, but a productive out for Vernon Wells. Yeah, Tommy Hutton was a high ball hitter. Tom Seaver was a high ball pitcher. It's just one of those things that I think his average is over 500 against Seaver.
Who was your guy?
I wish I only had one thorn in my side. I got him sticking in all over. You got Kaline, Elston Howard, Frank Howard. Actually, with all these matchups that you can do now, I was surprised. This is probably a lot in a pinch hitting situation, but the guy probably has the highest batting average against in my career. Joel Youngblood was 10 for 15. Wow. There's a lot of thorns.
That's a rose bush.
Yeah.
They couldn't find roses, so they give us tulips. Here's Troy Gloss, Yankee infield halfway. Pitches inside. K-line 37 for 112 against you, 10 home runs.
Surprises me that it was that I got him out that many times.
Big healthy cut by Gloss to count 1-1.
Interesting that yesterday with a man on third, 1 out, they brought the infield in. There you see Gloss swing through the pitch, and Joe Torre's thinking there is with Randy Johnson's probably going to be a fly out or a strikeout. So you might as well play the infield in case he hits a little nubber. With Messina, it's much different. He's more capable of throwing a ground ball, so they're halfway. If the ball's hit hard, they'll be able to check Catalanotto and go home if necessary.
Brian Butterfield, third base coach, going over the options with Catalanotto. One-two. Again fouled back.
Gloss is so tough to get the fastball. We saw that the other night with Scott Proctor, who throws that fastball in the upper 90s. He threw it inside, and Gloss still pulled it foul. So, you know, he's big. He's got some quickness.
Swing and a miss. So Messina went off speed with a breaking ball diving down and away. Changeup, actually. And Gloss goes down on strikes. That's a big strikeout for Moose.
Yeah, nice sequence. Nice example of high and tight, low and away. He threw the fastball up and in that Gloss fought off, and then he took a lot more off this pitch. Check out Lyle Overbay, McCarty's scouting report. He's got a long swing, which would tend to be a little better matchup against Mike Messina. He's a proven RBI guy. He never hit a lot of home runs, but per at bat, he's driven a lot of runs in the Brewers in the past. I think the Blue Jays thought he'd be more of a home run hitter, but he's a gap hitter, and I think because of that long swing. Toughest kind of pitcher on him would be a guy that can throw the ball hard and keep it above the belt.
One-0. Overbay takes it the other way, but Matsui is there, and he'll put it away for the final out of the third. But the Blue Jays get on the board. 1 run, 2 hits, and 1 man left. Let's take it to the bottom of the third. 1-0 to run. Hey, Sunday, May 14th on Yes. Don't miss the season premiere of the Emmy-winning Kids on Deck, hosted by David Justice. Hang with Donnie Baseball in the Coach's Corner. Take the Captain's Quiz with Derek Jeter. Go inside the numbers with A-Rod, and hone your skills with a different bomber every week. Catch an all-new session of Kids on Deck, premiering Sunday morning, May 14th at 11:30, only on Yes. That Kids on Deck wants to be a Yankee. Got the whole hat working.
Nice to see dads and kids at the ballpark, whether it's night or day. But I agree with the Yankees have this feature on the scoreboard between innings at the ballpark with Bill, and he was just explaining how there's nothing like a day game on a weekend, especially father-son. I think it's where a lot of us got our interest in the game is through our dads. watching a game to being at a game. In fact, earlier we sent along our good condolences to Lon Trost, COO of the New York Yankees, whose dad Harry passed away yesterday. That's how Lon became a Yankee fan and became a baseball fan, because his dad was such a great Yankee fan.
Yeah, the Yankees and everybody at Yes want to send out our condolences to Lon and his family with the passing of his dad. And Lon is just a top flight guy, and we're feeling for you, Lon, and our thoughts go out to you and your family. Strike three, Phillips down looking. He didn't like the call. Crowd groans, but Doty thought it was a strike.
Well, let's see, was it? Zahn tugs it in a bit. Service probably one of those too close to take. Yeah, that was on the corner, and it certainly was high enough to Chacín and Messina, two pitchers who have the ability to keep the ball out of the hitting lanes even when they're behind in the count. It's that working both sides of the plate and having control of your fastball.
Here's Miguel Cairo, who takes a strike from Chacín. Outside, along with Jim Cott, I'm Michael Kay. You're watching Yankees baseball right here on Yes. We thank you for joining us on this Sunday afternoon. The Blue Jays lead 1-0 in the rubber game of this three-game set, the final game of the Yankees' 9-game homestand. Count 2-1. Cairo is so happy to be back here, and he's a weapon for Joe Torre off the bench. He's 6 for his last 12. He's hitting .353. He had his best season in the majors a couple of years ago with the Yankees, and then a miscommunication between his agent and the Yankees and Cairo himself, and he ended up on the outside looking in, signed with the Mets for 1 year. Didn't have as good a season, but when the opportunity presented itself this time, he wanted to come back, even in a reserve role.
And he has a new agent.
I would say, though, that Robinson Cano might want to thank his former agent.
Yeah, that's true.
Because if Cairo came back, Cano probably doesn't get a chance.
As far as negotiating, a player probably well served to have an agent, but as far as where you play, you ought to be your own agent.
High fly ball, shallow left center. Catalanato will put it away for the second out of the third. Well, there have been so many players. I mean, there are horror stories, and they're way too many to even try to document. But players that were advised by agents, don't take this contract, you could get more. And the player listened and then ended up on the outside looking in.
Probably the poster boy for that one, and there's a lot of bitterness there, is former Red Sox second baseman Jordy Reed, who had a very lucrative offer from the Dodgers sitting on the table, turned it down, and never did play in the big leagues too much after that. I think signed a non-rostered contract with the Milwaukee Brewers.
Slapped the other way, and a base hit for Johnny Damon, who will go into Fenway Park on fire, as he is now 2 for 2. Yesterday he scored 5 runs and had the 2 home runs, but today a bunt single and a single to left.
And that's a Fenway Park type hit. You know, they saw him get 2 home runs yesterday, so they say, hey, Yankee Stadium, keep the ball away from him. Johnny said, okay, keep it away, I'll hit it away. That was actually even a little farther inside than they wanted it to Chacín and Zahn, but Johnny inside out of the ball would be a threat to try to steal here with 2 out. I guess he's a threat anytime.
Leads up first, Jeter at the plate.
Chacin is one of those lefties that I would think a base stealer like Damon, you almost have to make up your mind and guess with him. And as soon as he picks up his foot, you take off. And even if he throws the ball to first base, maybe you'd get into second safer.
You know, talking about players that received bad advice or made bad decisions. One of them is in the Blue Jay dugout. That's Benji Molina. He had a 3-year, $18 million offer from the Mets, and he thought, and his agent thought, there was more money out there. Well, once Ramon Hernandez signed with the Orioles, there were enough teams that wanted him for that kind of money, and he signed a 1-year, $5 million deal with the Blue Jays, and he's not thrilled about it. I guess he's thrilled to be playing, but that's a lot of money to leave on the table.
He signed a 1-year deal for how much?
$5 million.
That's still something to be thrilled about.
I guess there's different level of thrills.
Not for you, but for most of us average Americans. See the effect of Damon's speed on Chacin. Paying a lot of attention to him. He's falling behind to Jeter 2-0.
Got to look there at Benji, the 2-0. Line drive, base hit to left center field. Johnny Damon will turn it on. He'll go to third. The throw goes into second, holding Jeter at first. So Derek picks up a single. Runners on first and third with 2 men out for Jason Giambi.
Got 2-0 count. Giambi on deck. And Chacin says, I got to throw a strike. And he throws it down the center, and Derek centers it. Bell tie and rips it right back into center field.
Here's Giambi. Struck out looking in the first inning. You know, to finish up that Jody Reed story, and it shows you how it affected baseball. He was offered a 3-year, $9 million deal by the Dodgers. His agent, who was also his brother-in-law, advised him to turn it down. He ended up signing a minimum wage deal with the Brewers, and the Dodgers, desperately needing a second baseman, they traded Pedro Martinez for Delano DeShields.
That's right. I'd forgotten about that trade.
Fouled away in the count 1-2. Giambi is hitting .471 with runners in scoring position. He's 8th in the American League. Now you might wonder who's first. Adam Kennedy is hitting .625 with runners in scoring position, the second baseman for the Angels. Three, same pitch he struck him out on in the first inning, and Giambi down looking. No runs, 2 hits, no errors, and 2 men left on base. At the end of 3 full innings of play, Blue Jays 1 and the Yankees nothing.
Well, we're going to look at the last pitch of the inning and how rare this is. Jason Giambi now in 2 at-bats, 2 strikeouts, and Gustavo Chacin. It shows you how deceptive his motion must be. Because Jason taking that, but both of them were good strikes. You know, close, but they were strikes.
Shea Hillenbrand leads off the first inning. He struck out in second. It's 1-0 Blue Jays. There's a strike. Messina lays it right in there. Hillenbrand yesterday, before he got hurt, 2 for 2 with a walk. In the Friday night game, 2 home runs. Continues his assault on the Yankees.
The thing you can learn from both Messina and Chacin today, and Messina's been doing it for years. That's why Chacin pitches beyond his years. Going on 25 years old. He pitches like a seasoned veteran. Is when a pitch is made, right now Messina's right back. He already knows, I think, what he wants to throw on the next pitch as well as the pitch after that. And even Chacin, that's why you don't see these guys walking around the mound or get frustrated if they miss with a pitch, because they already know what the next one's going to be, and they're pretty good at putting it in general in the area where they want it to go.
And the 2-2. Swing and a miss. Chased the pitch up in the zone and strikes out for the second time. Let's take a look at the Aflac trivia question, as we usually do here in the top of the 4th inning. Who holds the Yankee record for home runs in the month of April? I think I know this one.
Oh, we've done that before.
Well, they're starting to repeat, huh?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm going to write it down, because we don't try to guess them anymore. We want to let you fans have a pop at doing that. So we just write our answers down.
Zahn serves it into left field. Matsui will make the catch. 2 away.
That strikeout again of Hillenbrand was an example of it's not necessarily the location, but the change of speeds that can get you out. See, this pitch is way up in his eyes, and it was 69 miles an hour, so it was the change of speed that fooled him.
Swing and a miss. Boy, Messina's sharp. The count 0-2. Crowd with the Moose call here at the stadium. Boy, the last couple of years, Jim, he would never throw strikes on 0-2. Ever. It seemed like he always wanted to chase, and then he was 3-2 when you'd look up. Well, we've seen him a couple of times today just come right at the batter. Maybe he just has more faith in his stuff, more belief. And the 0-2. Rounded up the middle, and that's going to squeak through for a base hit. And Messina, angry with himself, slams his glove against his thigh, as Aaron Hill is 2 for 2 after having been 0 for his last 15 coming in.
Took a lot off that pitch, had him way out front. Maybe a little higher in the strike zone than he wanted it, and Mike thought maybe he should have flagged that down.
Here's Russ Adams, flied to left in the second inning. Check swing. Did he go? No, said Bruce Dreckman over at third. There's a strike. Popped up. Jeter shading his eyes, And that'll do it here in the fourth. No runs are hit, no errors, and one man left on base. Let's take it to the bottom of the fourth inning where we'll have the Aflac Trivia answer. We go to the bottom of the fourth inning, and the Blue Jays lead 1-0. Alex Rodriguez will lead off against Gustavo Chacin. And the pitch is outside. 1-5-0 for the Jays against Messina. The Yankees have managed 3 hits against Chacin. Check swing and fouled away. Pitch is low. You might have heard in the background the Yankees have reevaluated Gary Sheffield. Pretty much the same information as they had yesterday, examined by Yankee team physician Dr. Stuart Hershon. And further testing on his injured left wrist. They did an MRI on the wrist and revealed no further damage than what they found yesterday, which was just a contusion. And Gary is, as they say, day to day. The 3-1. 3-2.
Well, you see how deceptive he is. He gets his off-speed pitches behind when he's behind and over when he's behind in the count. 3-1. I mean, this kind of hangs up there about bell tie. Alex swings through it.
Strike 3. A-Rod down looking.
Boy, this is some clinic, these two guys.
A-Rod's now 0 for 2. Let's take a look at that Aflac trivia question. We will refresh your memory on the question and give you the answer. Who holds the Yankee record for home runs in the month of April? Both Jim and I think it's Greg Nettles. Let's see what you think. Let's see what's right. It's Greg Nettles, 11 home runs in April of 1974.
We ought to take a picture of that and send it to Bobby. That's a Shea Stadium year.
That's right.
You never think of Shea Stadium as home runners for left-hand hit. Actually, how freaky these numbers can be. Greg Nettles hits 11 home runs in April of 74. He hits 22 for the whole year, and he never hit another one till early June. So you say, well, how'd that? I don't know. Are they facing weak pitching? Was the wind blowing out? There's could be all kinds of reasons for that, but it was an unusual month for Puff.
Driven to left field, backing up Catalanato, and he makes the play. Frankie makes it exciting out there in left field, but he hauled it in for the second out.
Well, the ball's carrying quite well out to left field. And never an easy sun field in day games. You see how Catalanato plays it off to the side. You get a much better look at the ball. Hauls it in just prior to finding the left field wall.
Here's Jorge Posada. You know, you mentioned Nettles 11 home runs. Bobby Mercer had 2 home runs in April, and they were not at Shea. I think for the season he had 2 home runs, and it took till very late in the season before he finally connected.
See, what Bobby's going to tell us is that he was hitting ahead of Nettles, and they didn't want to give him anything good to hit, so they pitched around him. They didn't give, and then they gave good pitches to Nettles.
Well, they must have been pitching really good to Nettles all year, because Bobby had 10 home runs at 74. I think Bobby will just come out and blame it on Shea.
Yeah.
Foul back. Deuces wild on the scoreboard. It's 2:22. That's the time. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. It's a 1-0 game. And Posada fouls it back.
Fun to watch these two pitchers. Even the foul balls give you an indication that neither one is predictable. Not only in the pitches they throw, the speeds. Different than normal, where a guy gets behind 3-1, he's predictable, and you see hitters have a lot of good aggressive swings. Hasn't happened yet today.
2-2. He struck him out. An impressive 1-2-3 inning for Gustavo Chacín. In fact, it's been one of those classic pitcher's duels Mike Mussina has been dealing, giving up just 1 run. And his mound counterpart, Gustavo Chacín, he looks great as well. As we go to the 5th, all that adds up to 1-0 Blue Jays. Thank you, Bob. As we head to the Bronx here, we are in the Bronx. Top of the 5th inning, it's 1-0. I'm a little sorry that Schilling wasn't saved for tomorrow. There's always theater when Schilling's on the mound. Schilling against the Yankees has a certain je ne sais quoi to it.
There, a what?
I don't know. Chevy scoreboard, 1-0 Jays. The 0-1. That one's driven to left field. Matsui back, turned the wrong way, gets his senses, gets his bearings, and he holds it in for the first out of the inning.
Boy, what great instincts. What great is, as soon as the ball is hit, an outfielder has that something in his brain that tells you where it's going to go. Now, for an instant, Hideki's going to take his eye off the ball, turn around, knows that it's going to be right there, puts it away.
Here's Catalanato. He's driven in the only run in the game. A double over the head of Bernie Williams and a slow breaking ball. 0-1.
You mentioned Schilling's not pitching against the Yankees. He's usually pretty exciting and good copy even when he's not pitching. He is the antithesis of, say, Mike Mussina. Because Kurt will be around there and he's kind of looking around like, where's the next microphone or camera? He loves to chatter either about baseball in general or things that are going on with the Players Association as well as with him and with his ball club, whereas guys like Mike are a little reticent to talk at all.
Catalanato waited nicely on that breaking ball and then just dunks it into left center field. Base hit. So Catalanato continues his assault on Mussina.
Yeah, Mike gave him a long look after that one as he after he hit it and ran down the first baseline. But that's one of the few pitches Mike did not get where you see Posada's target off speed, maybe not quite as much as he wanted, and Frankie has the ability to wait on the off speed pitches, see him keep his hands back, and yet he's quick enough on the inside pitch.
He did take 2 looks at Catalanato.
Yeah. Next time might throw on real slow.
Pitch to Vernon Wells as a strike. You know, in terms of Schilling, he might be the only player in the big leagues that is a regular caller into the sports talk shows in Boston. He is Kurt from the car.
I guess he doesn't have a lot of hobbies.
I know he's a Civil War buff, but I guess there's just so much to read on that.
I played for the White Sox in the mid-'70s when Harry Carey was doing games, and there was a talk show by a gentleman, I think his name was Pat Sheridan. Pat Sheridan? Mm-hmm. He'd have players' wives in tears. Oh.
Base hit by Wells. Catalanato will move to second. Wells is 2 for 3.
The guys would come home and say, "Oh, Pat Sheridan, you hear the things he said." I said, "You know, every radio that I've ever had has a dial on the left." and you just turn it to the left and you turn it off. You don't have to listen to that stuff. Can't get by with many mistakes to Vernon Wells. Again, he's one of those hitters that can wait till the last moment. Mike got him on a pitch, I think outside the first time up. No, he got a base hit the first time, a similar area. Good plate coverage.
Here's Gloss. Messina has handled him well. 5-4-3 double play and a strikeout. Now there's a commercial for a video game out with Josh Beckett and Derek Jeter where they get inside their minds, where Jeter's thinking, he got me on this last time, and what's he going to do this time? And Beckett's thinking as he's going into his windup. Does that really go on?
Pitch by pitch? Mm-hmm. Let me think about that for a minute.
Because I'm wondering if is Gloss thinking, well, I've been hitting his fastballs. He's getting me on a breaking ball, so I'll sit on the breaking ball. And is Messina thinking, well, maybe he's not expecting the fastball now? Doing a breaking ball.
Yeah, I think early in a pitcher's career, it's pretty easy to fall into where I wonder what he's thinking. And then I think the longer you pitch, the more you realize that I'm not going to do the hitter's thinking for him. I'm just going to do my own. It's tough enough to figure out what you want to do and go ahead and try to execute it. So don't waste your time thinking about what he's thinking.
One outside. Good fastball, but just missed. 90 miles an hour.
Yeah, that's a pitch Moose wanted. The big difference. The count is the thing in baseball. We talked about it before. And Moose wanted to be in a 1-2 count. Had a little late movement, but it looks like it just missed the outside corner. You know, 1 and 2 ahead of the hitter versus 2 and 1 behind, particularly like Gloss is that's a big pitch.
The home plate umpire Adam Dowdy is hearing it from the Yankee dugout. Turned around and looked at them. High fly ball, shallow center. Damon's there. 2 outs.
I'll tell you, Chacin has kept the Yankees off the bases pretty much, but where Messina has shined is being able to get some of these tough hitters out with men on base. He's been in more jams. The Blue Jays have 7 hits, plus Mike has hit a batter. So they've had more base runners than the Yankees have. While they're chatting, I just use this as an example, Michael. The Tigers had a great power hitter named Willie Horton. I had a tough time with him, as I did with most of the Tiger hitters, but I just remember an instance where I was behind him 2-0, and he was a great fastball hitter. And I looked down, I was saying to myself, I hope Phil Roof, who's my cat, calls for a fastball, and he did. And I threw it, and I think it was 2-2, and he just took it. Well, I didn't bother to think what Willie Horton was thinking, but I just knew what my thinking was, that I thought that would work, and one of those rare times it did.
It's the overbase. So you weren't thinking, though,
no,
well, Willie knows that he hits my fastball well, so he's not going to throw me.
I can't stand out there saying, well, this one, I wonder if Willie's don't have time to do it, and it makes it too complicated.
The 1-0. Inside to Overbay, 2-0.
Comes under that study long, you study wrong theory. Usually their first instinct is the best, and don't put too much extra thought into it. Just go with it. Being decisive is often better than being correct. As in, correct would be, well, throw this guy a curveball because he's a fastball hitter, but being decisive is, I'm going to throw my fastball because I don't think he can hit it right now.
The 2-0. You always hear, well, he's a good fastball hitter. Well, if your fastball is your best pitch, do you still throw it?
Yeah. The guy's a fastball hitter. I'm a fastball pitcher. Moose again didn't like that call from Adam Dowdy. There's instead of 2-1, it's 3-0. That was the longest look he had in at the home plate umpire.
Overbay's 0 for 2. He struck out and flied to left. First and second, 2 outs. Blue Jays lead 1-0. Looking to put a little distance between themselves and the Yankees. And he walked him. So the bases are loaded for Hillenbrand, a Yankee killer over the last couple of years.
And this really sets up an interesting confrontation based on what you mentioned and the fact that Messina has retired Hillenbrand twice on real slow curveballs. So if you're Hillenbrand, you might step in saying, you know, I'm going to be leery of that pitch this time. So see once whether Messina and Posada say, okay, this time we're going a little different pattern. We're going at him with hard stuff.
Hillenbrand has struck out twice. Chacin would like more runs. Bases loaded, 2 outs. Top of the 5th inning. Big at bat in this game. Nubbed off the end of the bat. Blue Jays have 7 hits. Yankees have 3. The only run in the 3rd inning on a Catalamato double, scoring Alex Rios from first. The double was over the head of Bernie Williams and right. Fastball upstairs.
Man, they're really up on the bench now. And again, that changes the sequence. I mean, let's see what. Well, that pitch wasn't high. If he called it for high, he missed it. Is it over the plate? That's a strike. I mean, that's barely above the belt. So Adam Doughty getting caught in a little indecision here where he's calling some of the balls strikes and the strikes balls.
Fouled away in the count 1-2.
So this is the count that he's been able to get him on the off-speed pitch with 2 strikes. See what they do this time.
Two and two. Now Posada wants to talk this over with Messina. Want to make sure they have the same thought process. And on deck is Greg Zorn. Crowd with the Moose call. The 2-2. We're all full.
Too far out to get him to change, to chase.
Three-two count, 2 outs. The merry-go-round gets started. Everybody will be going. And Hillenbrand steps out. He struck him out. Hillenbrand almost breaks his bat on home plate. He chased ball 4, a fastball away. And Mike Messina strikes out Hillenbrand for the 3rd time today. A big strikeout here in the 5th. The 3-2 pitch swung on and missed. No run. runs, 2 hits, and the bases are left loaded. At the end of 4 1/2, we're halfway through. 1-0 Jays.